Hello everyone, welcome to Casually Coloring. I'm glad you're here. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I'm going to be wrapping up my 2025 coloring year with the Coloring Reflections tag, answering 25 questions about my coloring journey over the past year. This is a community tag set up by Karen at My Colorful Country Life, and she has picked some amazing questions to go through and kind of reflect back on your coloring journey for the year. So yeah, let's get started. First book, Romantic Country by Erie. And the first question is my top 10 favorite pages. Which 10 completed pages are your favorite from this year? And it just so happens I have two from this book. So, yeah. This one here. Now, this one, sadly, it didn't do very well on Instagram. Well, in comparison to some of my other posts. I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was the algorithm. I don't really trust sometimes the algorithm. It just really depends on what time of day you're posting, what hashtags you're using, what day of the week you're posting. So I don't really put too much stock on the numbers. But for whatever reason, this one didn't do as well. And this one was one of my favorites because it was a very detailed page, and I wasn't sure how I was going to go about it or how it was going to come out. I'm not used to doing a page that's so busy, but I really did enjoy it. It was a buddy color as well, and I have a full color along on the channel for this. It's a full process one as well, and I don't know, I loved it. There were so many different elements to color. I got to practice some glass. I got to play around with my Artex acrylic markers. I wanted to practice some lighting. Even though it's more of a midday type of page, there is still some lighting elements. And it was just, it was one of my really delightful pages that I enjoyed doing. Next one here, this one was a favorite as well. It was just too cute. But of course, it depended. Both of them were in, October for Halloween. And it's the same thing. This was a whip from the previous year, and I never finished it. I think I had gotten intimidated also by the lighting. Something that I'm ongoing. It's been an ongoing practice, lighting. So yeah, it came out really good. I enjoyed the lighting here. And it came together. It went from, an ugly whip, and it just really developed into something adorable and joyful. And let me see, my next one is Nightfall by Maria Trolley. And this one here. Oh, this one was it was very simplistic, yet very effective. It was, I love autumn, so autumn palette and the bunny was the cutest. I just wanted to snuggle it as soon as it got finished. I don't know, it's the way that the bunny's facing you and tilted its head a little bit. I don't know, it's just the cutest little image. And I really enjoyed coloring it. It was a Derwent Inktense and Polychromos, and that's it. A lot of the particle stuff kind of, I don't know, got funky and transferred, and I have another page on the other end, but I'm guessing some of this stuff transferred over here, but in any case, it's super cute. It was definitely one of my favorites throughout the year. Next one is Jewelry Box. I think, yep, I have two tags here apparently, so I may have two favorites. This one here, again, it was just everything about this for me was nailed. I got to practice lighting, and I really just love how the glow is coming from these crystals. The palette is great, and really it was only two medium. It was Polychromos and Arteza watercolors. I love how the flower blends came out, and it was just a really gorgeous page, in my opinion, for me. I just absolutely loved coloring it. It came out exactly how I envisioned it, and yeah, it was definitely a highlight for my year. And my next one is this one. This was actually done earlier in the year, and it was all Derwent Inktense. And I was a bit surprised that I was able to pull off some depth with all water medium. It was I think my first page that I had posted that I had done all water medium, and didn't overlap with pencils or any other material. So I really appreciated this one. It was sort of a milestone page for me too. I think it was like the 100th page posted or something like that. Yeah, it was a fun page. I loved it. A lot of people have seen these pages so far, so I'm kind of whizzing through them. And a lot of these pages were kind of in past completed page videos, so I don't want to spend too much time on one question. That's why I'm kind of whizzing through them. And the next one is Daydreams by Hannah Carlson. And it was this cute frog page. It was done with Prismacolor and soft pastel for the background. I don't use soft pastel very often, but I'm starting to think I should get back into it because I really love how this glow ended up with the soft pastel. And it just seemed like the background was really nicely blended. It was another earlier works, but I'm still really proud of how it came out. I love the palette, and I just thought it was the cutest page. Cutest illustration. Next one here is Botanicum by Maria Trolli. You're going to see, most likely, a pattern here, because I'm pretty sure it's all Hannah Carlson, Maria Trolli. I do have a Johanna Basford in there, and I do have an Erie in there for my top 10 favorite pages. So there's a little bit of variety, but not much. All right. And it was this page, the peacock page. This was also another earlier works, and mainly Derwent Inktense, but I did go on top with a few elements with Polychromos for shading. I just, I adore that teal and yellow or teal and gold type of palette. As a matter of fact, I have a character in Guild Wars 2 that's completely dressed in this palette, and she looks neat. But yeah, I really loved it. It was just, there was a lot of small elements, so it was really hard to do the Derwent Inktense on this one, and then just the kind of stippling background, it was, again, I feel like a lot of my coloring is a little simplistic, but, I enjoy it. It's relaxing, and I don't like to overthink things or get too complicated, I'm trying to dip my toes into some more complicated backgrounds, but yeah, this one was, came out really good. All right, next one is Witch's Cottage by Hannah Carlson. I think this was my first. So I had done the name page, and that's all I had done. And this one, it came out really good, but for some reason I didn't know what to do with the background. So I kind of did this weird square sky, but whatever. Moving on. This was, I think, the only other page I have colored in this book. I would really like to color in this book a little bit more. I love the illustrations in this book. But yeah, so this was the second page I tackled, and it was a buddy color as well with Sabby. And I really enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure this was our first buddy color that we did, and she picked a couple of images, and then I picked out of the images. And I just thought this was so neat. And the way it came out, I was practicing lighting, although I think some of it's pretty harsh. I still feel like the page came out okay. And with the background was just one color, Arteza watercolor. So I left a lot of the white showing this way. It would denote the light coming from their little angler things. I don't know what these are called, but yeah, it was cute. I'm not sure how I like the lighting on the purple flowers, but I still think it came out okay. Another favorite of the year. And let me see. Next one is Flora by Maria Trolli. Let me count what we've done so far. So I have 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. 8. I think it was 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And it was this one. This one, I really loved it because I really tried to challenge myself. I pick palettes sometimes, I pick colors sometimes, and I usually have about 50 pencils on my desk at the end of the day. But with this one, I really tried to pick a few colors and just color with those colors. So the shading is a little bit weird on the flowers, but it worked out really well. So I used probably only about 5 pencils total in all of this. A couple of grays, a blue, and maybe a couple of pinks. But yeah, it was really, really minimum. And I was just trying to push my boundaries a little bit with how I understand colors and how colors lay down and layer on top of each other, because you can create a lot of depth with just a few pencils. So you don't always need, even though I have full set syndrome and, I have full sets of whatever media I get, you really don't need a lot of pencils. You can really layer just a few pencils and get some pretty decent effects. So yeah, I was really proud of this one. And let me see. This one was done recently, so I won't spend a lot of time on it because you've already seen it in my completed pages. But yeah, I just absolutely adored how this page came out. When I picked the palette, when I picked the colors, I really wanted, a more of a muted, laid back type of tone for the foreground. And I had this turquoise left, and I said, well, what am I going to do with this turquoise? I'm just going to create snow with it, I guess. There wasn't really a lot of space to get creative with the background, so I felt the snow was right spot on with what this page needed. And it was just too cute. Again, practicing fur, practicing backgrounds, trying to get out of my comfort zone with some backgrounds. And yep, I love that page. And last but not least, again, you guys have just seen this one, so I don't want to linger on it too much, but my Merry Christmas page. I don't know. I loved the non-traditional palette for Christmas. And I just loved how all the elements came out and how the page came together, and it was adorable. I really enjoyed coloring this one. And that is for my top 10 pages. I'm pretty sure I'm going to pull out a couple more of these throughout the questions. So let me see. Let's leave this here so we have something on the screen. Question number 2, most liked page on Instagram. As a matter of fact, it was recent, and it was my top 9. I know a lot of people do the top 9 collage, but I ended up doing a carousel so you could see the full photo. And my top 9 carousel has actually the one with the most amount of likes that I have on my page, which maybe it's odd, maybe it's not. I know Instagram pushes carousels, so that's probably why, but it was, let me see. The top page was the one I just shown, and it was the Derwin Inktense page with the apple tree. That's the top. So if you're on Instagram and you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that's the one I'm speaking about. But yeah, so let me see. Question number 3. Did you set any coloring goals at the beginning of the year, and were you able to meet them? Yeah, practicing fur and backgrounds. Also lighting, I guess, in a sense, but I kind of did that one more casually. I really wanted to hone my skills on fur, and I have a lot of bunnies and a lot of mice, I guess. I have a lot of things that have fur this year, so if you want, you can have a look at my Instagram account and look further back on that, so I don't want to pull out like 20 books of fur. Backgrounds, again, I'll touch base on that a little bit later as well. I'm just trying to get out of always doing something so simple and trying to get a little bit more creative. I'm not very creative or imaginative, so when I could pull something, even if it looks simple, if I could pull something different off, it makes me happy. 4, books colored. How many different coloring books did you color in this year? 33 different books. I don't know if that's a lot, but I don't even have that many coloring books. All one shelf. That's it. All of my coloring books are on one shelf, and that's it. So 33 different books this year. Question number 5. How many pages did you color this year? Did you set any personal targets? How many do you average a month? So I didn't set any personal targets, but I was averaging about 7 to 9 each month. So I'm guessing that's, well, if you do the math, it's 96 for the year on average anyway. Number 6, community participation. There's a lot of questions that I feel like I'm just kind of riding through, so I'm going to leave this open again so we have something to look at. Yeah, so how many buddy colors, hashtags, prompts, or challenges did you take part in this year? Too many to count, to be honest. I really like to try and join in on either buddy colors or community tags when I can. I think it brings everybody together, and I really appreciate all the hosts all the people that host these color alongs, it's a lot of work that goes into them. You know, you really have to keep an eye on what everybody's posting to share it and all that good stuff. But, you know, I really think it's a great way to bring the community together. And I'm pretty sure I've done either at least 1 or 2 buddy colors a month and at least 4 or 5 color alongs per page. I'm definitely adding at least a handful of color along tags per year, so it's countless. Let me see. 7 whips at the end of the year. How many works in progress do you have at the end of the year? I would say 2 at most. I'm not a whip person. I like to start something and then finish it. Although that's actually something I want to work on this year, because I feel like there's some things I won't color if I don't feel like I can sit down and finish it over a few days. You know what I mean? If there's elements on the page that may stump me, or, you know, I'm not too fond of, you know, I kind of move on and color something else. For me, I just like to have stuff that's finished, and I want to get out of that this year, because I feel like I'm stunting my own growth and my own creativity by kind of just sticking to one page and not, you know, like allowing myself to bounce around. All right, so next, untouched books. How many coloring books are still untouched on your shelf by the end of this year? Only 10, but then again, my collection isn't that big. And all 10 of these books, I'm going to make sure I color in this year. Did you finish in it? Question 9, books completed. Did you finish any coloring books this year? No way. You know, for some reason, I don't focus on one book. And when I pick a page, I kind of just flick around in my books, you know, to see what I'm feeling, what's calling to me, and then I decide on a page that way. Let me see. Number 10, books added to your collection. I did add 14 new books to my collection, I think, over the year. So that's not that much, but again, my collection's not that big. New release coloring books. What was your favorite must-have new release from 2025? You know, the thing is I never get new releases, because a lot of the books that I get are released, you know, 6 months before I get the English version here in Canada. So a lot of times I either wait for the English version that I can get here, or I wait for a sale, and, you know, or I sometimes snag books on Book Outlet too in Canada. And yeah, so I don't really ever get new releases for that reason. It's a shame, but that's the case. I'm a very frugal colorist as well. Let me see. Next question. 12. Which coloring supplies did you reach for the most this year, and any new discoveries? Polychromos, definitely reached for all year. They're my favorite pencils. And new discoveries were acrylic markers. I had gotten a set of 90 Artex acrylic markers, and I'm still getting used to them, and I'm still trying to incorporate them into my coloring slowly but surely. I've done a few pages with them, you know, adding embellishments or landscapes or moss or whatever the case may be, but I really do love using them. Have I used them for a whole page yet? No, not yet. Number 13, most reached for book. Which coloring book did you work in the most this year? Definitely Daydreams. And I didn't even count the amount of pages, because I'm a little lazy on that. I have bought a journal from the dollar store that's Stitch. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can snag it. And yes, it's in reach. So I do plan on somewhat trying to tackle a personal journal for myself. It's probably not going to be as creative or as complex as a lot of the coloring journals going around, but I liked it because it came with these little tags. So it kind of splits open, and I love Stitch. It kind of splits the book into sections. And yeah, so I plan on getting a little bit more organized in that sense of how many pages I have colored, and what books, and, like, you know, that sort of thing, so I can keep track a little bit better. All right, let me see. Next question is most challenging page. Which page gave you the most challenge this year? So now we get to close this finally. You guys are probably tired of looking at that page. My most challenging is this. So this was a buddy color, and it was the first page. I think, did I even do... Nope, I didn't even do the first page in this book. So this is legitimately the first page. Normally I like to title... oops, sorry about that. Sometimes I like to tackle title pages, but In this case, I went straight for a page because it was a buddy color. And I didn't know the paper. This is actually a reason why I like to color something on my own before getting into it and figuring out the paper, what media I have, because I don't have a lot of media, but trying to figure out what media agrees with the paper because all paper is different. And I liked how the page started out, and then I got to the background, and it gave me the most amount of trouble, and I went down the rabbit hole of trying to fix the issues and messed up the page even more. So at the end of the day, I was able to salvage it with the Artex acrylic markers. And I did this Van Gogh inspired background I had seen from A Pictured Purpose and APUN on Instagram. Well, Pictured Purpose is on YouTube as well. And I decided to give it a shot, and it literally saved the page. And this was definitely the one that has caused me the most trouble. Number 15, was there a book or page that surprised you with how much you enjoyed it? As a matter of fact, let me dig all the way down at the bottom of this pile real fast, because it was definitely one of my top 10 for the year, and it was The Shop. And yeah, like I had said before, this one was just, it definitely surprised me, because when I first seen the page and looked at the page, I'm like, that is a lot of detail. There's a lot of little elements. There's no way that this isn't going to make me pull my hair out. And surprisingly, I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. And like I said, that's why I made it to my top 10 this year. It's just, I got out of my comfort zone. I don't like to color all these tiny little elements. I got to use some the acrylic markers again and color differently, practice coloring different elements. Yeah, but that's exactly why. This is not, if you look at any of my work on Instagram, you'll see that there's nothing that's this detailed at all. But now this makes me want to get into kind of trying to color different pages that are a little bit more out of my comfort zone as far as details go, because this is a lot of tiny elements that you have to tackle in this, and I don't know, I loved it. I didn't get frustrated once. There was no issues with the page, in my opinion. It worked out really good. All right, let me see. Number 16, how many videos did you create for your channel this year? Well, I just started my channel in October, and I think it was around 25 videos, but some of them were, multiple part color alongs, so I don't really count that. But yeah, I mean, if you do, it's probably about 25. What was your personal favorite video you created this year? And that was definitely the Coloring Book Confessions, tagged by Shell's Coloring Journey. And that one's on my channel as well. I really think these type of tags, community tags like this one and the Coloring Book Confessions, really gets you to think about, because there's things we think about on a regular basis, and then there's things that are in the back of our mind that until you're asked, it doesn't really bring it up. So a lot of times with these sort of community tags with the questions, it's great to get you out of your head and figure out where you're standing with your own journey. Number 18, your coloring routine. Did your coloring habits or routine change this year? Actually, no, they stayed the same. I usually color in the morning, which I'm filming right now, because I get the best light, and I don't have all this extra lighting, and I don't have all this extra space for lighting. So I feel like I get the best light that comes through this window in the mornings, and I feel the most refreshed in the mornings. And I find that when I color, my coloring goes a lot better in the morning. So I kind of stick to when I first, wake up. And the rest of my responsibilities go throughout the day anyway, so it's really just early mornings are the best time. And usually I can only sit down and color for an hour, so yep, that's about that. Let me see. New techniques learned, number 19. Did you learn or experiment with any new techniques this year? Again, I practiced with the acrylic markers. I practiced a lot of fur this year. I've tried to practice with some backgrounds and some stencils. And as a matter of fact, I have I have an example for that as well. Spirit animals. And this one again, this one didn't do very well on Instagram either. But I loved how it came out. And I guess that's all that matters as long as you're happy with it. Um yeah, I had been inspired by drawing and coloring. Her name is Corrine. And she had in daydreams like a crown in the background. It was a bit more slanted. So but I drew inspiration from that. And you know I had done something similar, and I added some stencils to bring the stars back in because there's a lot of stars. And I just really loved how this came out. It was a fun one to do. Again, trying to get out of my comfort zone with backgrounds and trying to get a little bit more creative. It's not always easy. Let's see. Inspirational number 20. Inspirational artist or colors. Who inspired your coloring this year? Way too many to list, honestly. I think we all inspire each other in some sort of way. Whether it's a technique, whether it's an element that you're practicing, whether it's a color palette. I think we all kind of inspire each other. And that's what's great about this community. But if I have to label it, I would say Erica from At Elm's Color is definitely one of my inspirational colorists. I adore her palettes. And if you've seen my stuff, I like to stick to some limited palettes and challenge myself. So every time I see one of hers, it still re-inspires me to keep pushing boundaries with color palettes. And the next one is, of course, Karen from My Colorful Country Life. She inspires me because she can color anything, any page, any artist, any element, any backgrounds. I mean, anything. Like, she amazes me. For some reason, her just reach of coloring is vast and expansive, and you just cannot, like, even put a finger on it. Like, she's amazing. She's also done a few challenges this year that really blew me away. Coloring with like just 12 pencils, or having to use all 150 Prismacolors in one go. Like, she's inspiring for sure. There's a lot of other people that inspire me, but I'll be here all day. But these two were my top two. And I would have to say also at Black Canary on Instagram. I think she also has a YouTube as well. Irina, I think her name is. But yeah, I mean, everybody knows Black Canary's work. Her work is just magical. Although there's no way I think I could ever get into replicating her artistry. But yeah, I mean, there's so many other people that inspire me. So if I don't mention you, please, just know there's a lot more of colorists out there that inspire me. But I would be here all day with that question. Let me see. Number 21. Were there any special or memorable moments related to your coloring journey this year? Honestly, it's been the overwhelming support from the community. I've been in the coloring community for a little bit, and I find that just everyone that I follow or everyone that follows me has just been very supportive, very encouraging, and very uplifting. And that's like the most special part, I guess, about the community and the hobby, is being able to share it, because I don't really have anybody in my real life that colors or really understands it like I understand it. So it's great to connect with people that also enjoy it as much as I do. Number 22. How did the adult coloring community impact your year? Any collaborations, friendships, or inspiring moments? Definitely, again, we're going to circle back to the friendships. Meeting people and being able to connect with them and share a lot in common with other people that also love coloring. It's like the highlight. I've made such good friends this year, and I'm blown away. I never expected to, have such friendships develop, but I'm so glad that they did. I got to reconnect with also a friend, through Instagram as well, and it's just been a wonderful year. So that I would have to say is my absolute highlight and impact for the year. 23, proud learning moment. What's a moment where you challenged yourself creatively, and how did it turn out? So again, with the backgrounds, Rooms of Wonder background that we just seen, the Seasons Mouse with the snow, and this one here, the Spirit Animals one. So anything that has I wouldn't even say artistic, or, just backgrounds that are not just, say, coloring in with one color or two color, or my, even in the one in the Christmas one I did this year, that was the dapple. This was a simple background, in my opinion. You're just throwing colors on a page and you're blending them together. So when you have to do something that requires a little bit more finesse, I guess, this is what I've been trying to practice this year. And this is definitely my proud moment of, with backgrounds, trying to get away from doing just simple backgrounds. Looking ahead to 2026, number 24. What are your coloring goals and plans for the coming year? Definitely skin. I don't do a lot of skin. I don't do portraits. If I do skin, you'll see something like this, that it's very minimal and small and forgiving. But I do want to try and take that skill a bit further. I'm actually hoping on snagging one of Christine Karen's newer books and using her grayscale to maybe help me figure out where to shade certain things. I mean, look, it's not too bad, but for me, I just, sometimes you just see these portraits that are so realistic, and it's practice, right? Practice makes perfect. And I need to get started, and I need to figure out, and for me, I can watch videos, but I need to do it. If I don't do it, it doesn't really retain. So I need to, I think, get a couple of these books and just try out the grayscale and figure out how things go and where to shade. And then it'll become muscle memory, and then I'll be able to do it on, say, like a Hannah Carlson page that doesn't assist you. But yeah, that and doubles. I don't like to do doubles. I wonder if there's any double spreads in this that we can have a look at. Oh, they're all doubles, I guess. But yeah, I mean, for me, when I look at a double, I feel like it's a very large commitment. And, like I had said before, I don't like whips, which, again, I'm trying to get out of that. And I think that this is going to be a twofer. Doubles and whips are going to be connected in a way that I can get out of my comfort zone with starting doubles. It's a bigger project, and then also get out of my comfort zone with leaving whips. Because if I do a double and let's say I just go in and I shade this unicorn hair, and then I do her hair to match or something like that, then call it done. And, it's a whip. I put it back on the shelf, and then, move on to something else, come back, color another element. I feel like for me, this would help me, do doubles a little bit more often and not feel so overwhelmed with coming and just doing a couple of elements, leaving it, and coming back. So this is going to help me get out of my double fear and my whip fear. Yep. All right, next questions. Oh, it's the last question. 25. So 2026 new books and products. Are there any new books or products you're really looking forward to in 2026? Like I said, when it comes to coloring books, I kind of get stuff that's on sale. I normally stick to certain artists, which I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone. As a matter of fact, with artists, this year I've gotten my first Mel Pomeni. Sorry, I totally butchered that one. Enchanted Earth. I've gotten some of Rita Berman's Hidden Seasons and Hidden Earth. So I'm looking forward to dabbling in that. And it's really just, I'm finding books on sale, and I'm finding artists that I want to try and get out of my comfort zone with. So it's a very minimal thing for me, buying coloring books and buying supplies. I've kind of had the same supplies forever, and I kind of just stick with them because for me, it's a hobby. The hobby itself is the hobby, and buying the stuff isn't the hobby. Although I do like to collect books more than anything, even though I don't have that many. When they're a favorite artist, I'm going to get, say, like Hannah Carlson. I'm going to buy every single book. If it's Hannah Carlson, whether it sits on my shelf like this one, I only have the name page done. So and the only reason why is because, obviously, like I had said before, practicing skin is on my go-to for this year. So, I just feel like, for instance, with this book, they're all gorgeous images. But if I go to color this one, I want to color the opposite page. So they're essentially mostly doubles for me. But yeah, Her new Castle book is definitely one on my list, and Maria Trolley's new releases, the Christmas book she released, and I think Archstrider is maybe translated to Seasons. Don't quote me on that. These are the books I'm looking forward to because I collect all of Hannah Carlson and all of Maria Trolley books, regardless of what they are. So those are the ones I'm looking forward to. And I'm hoping I can get my hands on not new releases, but Rita Berman's Asian and Europe adventure books and maybe her newest adventure book, but I haven't been able to get my hands on them here yet. As far as products go, I would say gouache. And I had a 112 set of the Himi gouache. But I'm seeing a lot of mixed reviews about them. A lot of people love them, and then a lot of people curse them because they get mold. And I think it depends on where you're at or what the thing is, but if you open all of the gouache at once, apparently spores can get into the gouache, and if you don't use them often enough, they start to like grow mold, or mildew on the top of them because they're an organic product and they're wet all the time. So I'm trying to I really, again, full set syndrome. I really, really want that full set of 112. But now I think I need to find the tubes because I'm just not sure. And I have Arteza watercolor tubes, but they don't have a big set of gouache yet. So I'm still looking. Maybe you'll see me this year dabble in some gouache if I can find, some decent tubes. But I really don't want to take the chance of spending a decent amount of money on a set of gouache and then it goes mold on me. And I also don't want to have to mess with it and do whatever tips and tricks people do to keep the mold out of it. I don't want to bother with the upkeep of that. So, yeah. And that's it for today's video. If you're still here, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And if you could like, comment, and subscribe. I know everybody asks, but it genuinely helps the channel grow. And a special thank you to Karen for coming up with the 25 questions for this community tag. It really makes you kind of reflect, that was the intention, but it really does, until you sit down and read the questions and answer the questions, you may not necessarily think about them. And I really do appreciate that the work, that's put into trying to figure out these questions to put out for the community. So again, Karen, thank you so much for all you do. And yeah, my next video will probably either be a speed coloring video or most likely a speed coloring video because I want to prep for my budget. I want to do a challenge and color with budget supplies, and I need a little bit more time to prep for that. So the next page will be a speed coloring, and look out for that. So yeah, have a great day. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, see you later. Bye-bye.